why they're falling off, someone put this in the topic or in the comment, one move. There is one move that you can make, my brother, and there's one move that you can make, my sister, that will cause it to fall off. And I'm going to get into it now. I'm going to go James, in the book of James. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say a word of prayer. In the book of James, 4 and 7. James 4 and 7. Easier said than done. Now, this you might say this is going to be easier said than done, but James 4 and 7 says, to resist, but submit and resist. Someone put that in the comment, submit and resist. Submit and resist. And James 4 and 7 says, submit yourself unto God. James 4 and 7, it says to submit yourself unto God. What is submit? Submit means to give yourself, release yourself, invite him in. Say, God, I give it to you. God, I release it. God, I hear you. God, I'm focusing on you. Submit. The scripture says, submit yourself unto God. And see what happens. The moment that you submit yourself unto God, now you've given God the power. When you submit yourself unto God, now what you're doing, you open up the door. Even the scripture said, God said, I stand at the door and knock. If you open up, I'll come in. And so, see, when you submit, what you're doing now, you're inviting God in your house. You're inviting God in the house of your mind. You're inviting God in the house of your understanding. You're inviting God in the house of your spirit, of your thoughts. The scripture tells us to think on these things that are good, think on the things that are pure, set your affection on things that are above, things that are pure. And so you have to think a certain kind of way. And so the more you think a certain kind of way, then what's going to happen, your thoughts in that way that you're thinking is going to, you're planting seeds. So if you think positive, then what's going to happen, your thoughts, your positive thoughts are planting seeds of positivity, which means that your harvest is going to be positive. But if you think negative, then that's the fight. Then what's going to come up is negative. And so if you're thinking both, then you got to fight. You got to storm there. But you got to think one way or another. God says, my sheep know my voice. See, when you hear God's voice, then you're not going to listen to no other voice. Then he said, a stranger will not follow you. And so, but to submit, when you submit, what's happening, you're allowing God. You're giving your spirit to him. And then when you submit to him, you invite him in the house, then he's in your house. You have authority. You have power. You have dominion. You have strength. You have the fruit of the spirit, temperance. And so once you invite him in the house, what then the scripture says, resist the devil and he will flee. This is the one move. In your situation, the one move is to submit to God. And then you submit to God, you will be able to resist the devil and he will flee. And so many of you, you're in a place and you're in a situation, in this transitional place in your life, the move that you need to make is to submit and to resist. Because when you submit and to resist, God is going to break the thing that that's fighting you. God is going to give you the authority over the situation. See, because what's going to happen through your obedience, what God is doing, he's taking you to a new season. Somebody put in the comment, new season. The scripture says, even in Old Testament, the scripture says, forgetting those things, or not to remember those things that are in your past, or remember those things that are old, I'm going to do a new thing in you. Don't think about those things that you've been through. Don't think about those old things. But God says, I'm going to do a new thing in you. By you forgetting those things. By you blocking out those things. And you might say, how do you block it out? How do you block it out? You block it out by ignoring it. You block it out by giving yourself a distraction where you don't think about that thing. You think about God. You think about the word. You say, God, help me.